Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. My name is Chris and this is where we have inspired conversation about all things personal finance, income tax strategy, and business advisory. Today we're going to talk about stage 5 of the wealth journey, which is know your why. And this is so important because it speaks to our income, our full income potential. Knowing your why creates fulfillment in our wealth building journey, which leads to value creation, which leads to income creation. And I'm going to depict that on the whiteboard here in a few seconds, but it's so important that we embrace this stage of knowing our why, finding our why, knowing it, and connecting with it every day. I want to share with you the process that I've gone through. You may have heard of this before with your why. You might be saying, this sounds a little familiar. Is this out of a book? And yes, Simon Sinek wrote a book, Start With Why. He had a follow-up book called Find Your Why. And I want to talk a little bit about that second book, Find Your Why, which I use to personally go through a process and feel engaged about knowing my why, finding it and knowing it, and feeling good that I can be true to my why every day and let that guide me in everything I do. And let's go over to the whiteboard and talk a little bit about why this is so important. Here we go. Let's have some fun. So here we are at the whiteboard, and let's dive into know your why and why this is so important. Recall from the financial stability stages that first we have the stage 1 of planting investment seeds, and then building your Murphy fund to plan for those little emergencies, paying off consumer debt, all important, and then growing your Murphy fund to a true emergency fund equal to 3 to 6 months of living expenses. Now we're at financial stability. And as we enter then into the growth stages, and we're tackling the growth stages of the wealth journey, your income is such an important tool, the most important tool in your wealth journey. And that is your income. And so I like to write that here. And I like to write it this way, think of it this way, full income potential. So you might be saying, well, Chris, why aren't you saying increase your income or maximize your income? That may be the case. You may be tackling know your why in stage 0 and needing to tackle the financial stability stages. And certainly through here, a lot of people may need to increase their income. I've got to go that second job or that side gig. I've got to increase my income in my current state, my current job, my current profession. Certainly, you want to increase your income given your circumstances you're in. And even as you move then to the wealth building stages that we're going to talk about here in the future, also important to possibly increase your income, maximize your income. But I like to think of it as your full income potential, which doesn't always have to mean increasing or getting more. Full income potential doesn't mean more, constantly chasing more. It's enough. The income is enough based on my goals, my dreams, essentially my why. It is enough to do what I need to do in the wealth building stages. So that's maybe a little bit unique. Maybe that's somewhat philosophical, but it's truly in my heart. It's not about chasing more money. It's about chasing your full income potential, and that starts with your why. So to explain this a little more, I like to draw a picture. So let's go to the back of the whiteboard, and I want to show you a diagram that I like to call the fulfillment cycle. So I want to share with you what I think is a simple diagram and a simple concept, but to me it's powerful, and it really makes a point and states a very important message. And this is called the fulfillment cycle, but it starts with why. And as you move to why, moves over here to impact. Your why leads to making an impact on the world, an impact in the lives of others. You do that through your hows. We'll explain that a little bit more in a second too. But your whys and your hows are what combine to make your imprint on the world, to make your impact in your communities, with your customers, on the team that you work with every day. So your why, in combination with your hows, leads to impact. That impact leads to an increase in value or value creation. It leads to first value you feel inside, self-worth that you feel inside for making an impact on someone's life, helping somebody out, seeing them grow, taking your why and putting it into action. makes impact, increases value. That increase in value can then lead to, and I believe does lead to, your full income potential. So again, why leads to impact, leads to increase in value, which leads to full income potential. The more value you create out in your circle of influence, your customers if you have a small business, or in your job and on the team you work with, serving customers and being employed in that job, whatever it may be, that leads to your full income potential, likely your income going up. Your full income potential then leads to an increase in wealth. Let's draw that increase in wealth. Now, it may not. You have to start doing smart things with that income to make sure that you are increasing your wealth, and that's what we're going to talk about in the coming videos. But your full income potential leads to the possibility of increasing your wealth, and hopefully the high likelihood of you increasing your wealth. As your wealth increases, this circles back to your why. What does that mean? As your wealth increases, you have more time. You have more ability to choose what you want to do each day. You are empowered to connect and reconnect with your why every day and then complete the cycle all over again. So important in the wealth building journey. A quick little side point, as your wealth increases, what this has the power to do is this wealth, if I draw a little arrow here, has the ability to create what's called a passive income or cash flow generating cycle that increases your wealth here. It's not now from your efforts anymore, but you have a wealth building generator right here, creating more income, cash flow, which can cycle back and increase your wealth. The power of compounding earnings. All right, that is the fulfillment cycle. Wanted to share that with you. Ever so important. So as we look at the whiteboard, let's look at a few definitions or talk about a few definitions. Let's start with, what is why? What does why mean? Your why is your deep-seated purpose, a cause or a belief that is a source of your inspiration or passion. You might say, Chris, well, my why is my passion, right? That's what my passion for doing whatever it is I do. Somewhat, but it's deeper than that. Your why goes to kind of the source of that passion. That deep-seated cause, again, cause or belief that connects to or supports your passion or your inspiration. So very important. Your why is your deep-seated cause or belief. So we talked about the definition of why, but let's talk about what your why is not. But a why is not to make money. A why is not also your family or your friends or your profession or what it is you do every day. And your family, of course, important, and it's a source of inspiration. It is certainly what you focus on or a why, or what is important to you and why you might go do something every day to provide for your family, to build better friendships. Certainly that connects, but your why is your own unique and your hows or your unique way that you connect to the world and make an impact on the world. So I wanted to make sure that's stated correctly, because I hear that a lot in social media about your why is your family or it is what you do every day, and that's simply different than how we're talking about your why in this context. So ultimately, your why is in service to others, and it is what makes an impact on the world and within your circle of influence. Again, right here in the fulfillment cycle. So let's talk quickly about your hows. Your hows are also important. Your hows are a laundry list of up to 5 things that connect with your why and in combination with your why are what bring your why to life every day. Your hows are your actions and your beliefs and your principles that you live by and that are unique to you that, again, in combination with your why, are essentially your unique fingerprint on the world. So as we finish a discussion on the fulfillment cycle, we've talked about the why, we've talked about your hows, and then ultimately that leads to the what it is that you do every day. And that could be your small business or your job, your profession, the thing that you bring your why and your hows every day to the world, and you make something happen. And that's, again, a profession, a ministry. It is what you do every day. That's the what. But remember, we start with why, and the combination of your why and your hows are what make that true impact on the world, which again leads to your full income potential. So now I'd like to share with you my personal journey to find my why. Again, using the book, Simon Sinek's book, Find Your Why. I read the book and felt inspired to hire a facilitator, because that's step number one in the process, is find a partner or a facilitator. And I chose an executive leadership coach that I've worked with before. Her name is Morella Garrigan. She did an excellent job as my facilitator, and I will put a link to her company, which is Identity Development Partners. I'll put a link down in the description below. Her main focus is helping businesses and individuals find their purpose. And she was excited to build a program for me based on the Find Your Why book. Morella was able to blend her purpose-driven leadership program with Find Your Why. She called it a why discovery process. Remember this, your why already lives within you. It's something to be discovered, not to be created. So I appreciated working with Morella in this, and she was an excellent partner to help me through the Find Your Why journey. So that's step number one, is find a partner. Step number two is get your partner up to speed. So whoever you select as a partner to help you go through this, ideally let them read the book. In certain chapters, don't have to read the whole book, but certain chapters of the book that talk about the process and the importance of the role of the partner in helping somebody find their why. So get your partner up to speed. Number three, pick a time and place. Very simple step, but set aside time and don't make it just a short 10 minutes here and then a week later another 15 minutes there. Block out a set amount of time. It could be 2 hours. It could be upwards of 6 hours, maybe even a full day. Block out a time to dedicate to this process. And that's what I did. Thankfully, I was on a sabbatical, so I had the time to go through this and spend the effort and really be intentional with the process. So find a time, put it on your calendar, dedicate yourself to it, and make it happen. And the fourth step in the process is to gather your stories. Very important step. Thinking of stories and times when you were most passionate and felt engaged and in the flow early on in your life is extremely important as you work with your partner to draw out themes. So gather together your stories. The next step is then share those stories. Working with your partner in that time that you set aside, sharing the stories with your partner, having back and forth, having your partner ask questions and having a dialogue and really digging into those early in life themes and stories and the highs and the lows that you experienced during that time. Share your stories. The next step is identify the themes. This is where it really starts to come to life. As you go through this process, certain themes will start to come out of the stories that you're sharing with your partner, and that the partner that's drawing certain themes and embellishing or asking you to embellish parts of the story. The themes will come out and you document those themes and then move on then to the last step in this process which is draft your why statement. And kind of along with that is also you determine what are my up to 5 hows. Maybe it's 3 to 5 hows that are also part of those themes. So the why statement starts to come to life. Your hows start to come to life, and you put that down on paper as the final step in the Find My Why process. So after going through that process, I want to share with you the results and just be kind of vulnerable here and share the results of what I put down as a why statement and my hows after going through this process. To serve and lead my family and others to personal growth and transformational change so that together we find fulfillment in our journey. That's my why statement. Servant lead became a very prominent part of what I had to include in my why statement, thinking of the themes and the people that I connected with and were very influential to me in my early years. My dad being number one, certainly as a pastor of a church and administrator of a school, and very much a servant-hearted leader in everything he did, influenced me tremendously. A professor in college had made a big impact on me. A music professor and an accounting professor as well had a huge impact and had a great element of just making accounting fun and exciting and enjoyable. Had a football coach in high school that made a big impact on me and led with humility, but led with courage and was tough, but was influential and did it in a way that just made an impact on me more than any other coach that I had in my early years of growing up and playing sports. So servant leadership was certainly something that made an impact and had to be part of my why statement as those themes came out during the process. And so now to my hows, which I have 5 hows that I identified through the process. I'm just going to state them one after the other right here, and we'll put them up on the screen. Number 1, lead with courage and empathy. Number 2, see the big picture. Number 3, seek out new experiences and perspectives. Number 4, inject creativity in everything. And number 5, my 5th how, share, share, share. So let me quickly go back and I'm going to explain a few sub-bullets, because this is what you start to do in this process is after you identify your hows is put a little more meat to the bone by explaining what each of the hows mean. And for me, this is what that meant. So let's go back. For how number 1, lead with courage and empathy, which really is the heart of servant leadership, which is also in my why statement. But lead with courage and empathy is to trust and inspire by extending trust often and listening intently. Let others speak first before you speak. That doesn't mean you don't speak, but leading with courage means you're going to say what needs to be said and have the courage to say it. But have the ability to let others speak. And it could be something where I like the thought process of you have 2 ears, you have 1 mouth, you should be listening and talking in that proportion. So you listen intently, let others speak. Don't be afraid and have the courage to come in and say what needs to be said and state your point of view. But that to me is leading with courage and empathy. As well as people want their leaders to make them feel safe. It kind of ties to listening again, making sure you're listening to people. They want to feel safe. They want to feel heard. And that's an important part of leading with courage and empathy and something that's near and dear to my heart. The heart of a coach is to guide and inspire while demonstrating a spirit of humility. Humility plays such a huge role in servant leadership. That's certainly one of my hows and what I use, a behavior, a principle that guides me each day when connecting to my why. And lastly, under my first how, building relationships through one-on-one interactions, spending time with people, breaking bread, being in front face-to-face versus behind a screen on a Zoom call or text messaging or emailing. One-on-one interactions are really at the heart of leading with empathy, leading with courage. All right, my second how was see the big picture. To me, some sub-bullets that describe this are focusing on long-term evolutionary change versus revolutionary change. Having patience, making small changes, sometimes big changes, but knowing that over time that it's going to take a while. It's going to take some time, and it doesn't need to be let's get it done right now. It has to be done by tomorrow. I'm more of let's progress steadily with intention, but have the patience to know that it's going to take time for transformational change to happen. Have the mindset of a builder, knowing that we're going to build something and build something strong, and it's going to take time, and to see the steps that it's going to take and have the vision to see what it's going to look like in the future is important and exciting to me. Certainly one of my, in describing my how of see the big picture. So have the mindset of a builder. And lastly, always seek peace. There's going to be adversity. There's going to be things that don't go right. There are going to be relationships that are maybe challenging and are hard and are just difficult. Seek peace in those situations. And don't be quick to judge. Don't be quick to emotional statements. Seek peace in those circumstances. So that's see the big picture. My third how is seek out new experiences and perspectives. And I really like this one. I think the first bullet under this one that really goes to a coach, an executive coach that worked with me and a good friend that over the years would tell me, Chris, you always want to feel the butterflies. Always feel the butterflies. That means you've got to be testing the waters and breaking out of your comfort zone often. If you aren't feeling the butterflies then something's not right. Experience something new. Push yourself beyond your comfort zone. Also, be spontaneous and find inspiration in the beauty that surrounds you. This really goes to my third how here, in that I love traveling. I love seeing new places. I love getting out of wherever it is I'm at the time and experiencing something new. That might be as simple as getting out from behind the desk and going for a walk down the street, and the next day going for a walk down a different street, or taking a different route to work. And then it may be something big like going to another country, or getting on the top of a mountain, or seeing beautiful landscapes that it took 2 days to hike into. All those are very important things, and really kind of speak to the soul and inspire for me, and are part of being or seeking out new experiences and perspectives. All right, my fourth why: inject creativity into everything. I'm a musician at heart. It's something that combines with my accounting background that makes me somewhat unique, kind of the right brain, left brain. But creativity is important, and I like to have that be part of everything I do. Certainly in music is a creative art, but even in accounting, and even in explaining financial things and drawing on a whiteboard. I'm not a beautiful artist. I don't draw or paint, but I can draw on a whiteboard and help take the complex and make it simple, and draw diagrams and help somebody say, I get it now that I see it. So using creativity in what I do is part of my how of inject creativity in everything. And then lastly, share. What this simply means is have the vulnerability to share your beliefs, share your experiences, and let that make an impact on someone's life. Let that possibly be something that makes somebody's day, to hear about something that maybe you thought, this is too personal, or this is maybe too complex, or I don't feel comfortable sharing. It's certainly, there are limits to sharing and vulnerability. However, the more you can push yourself to share and be vulnerable, and for me, this is important, the more impact that can be made and touch somebody's life, inspire somebody to personally grow and to change. So those are my 5 hows. I'm glad that I was able to bring these to you, and hopefully it helps you not to just see what my hows and my why is, but just to share what the experience I went through, the results of that experience, and maybe it'll make an impact on you. So I went through that process. I shared my personal why statement, my personal hows, and I want to be very transparent with you that this is something I went through recently. I mentioned I was on sabbatical. That was only a few years ago from the making of this video. I'm in my 50s now. I am almost 30 years into a career. This isn't something I did back in my early 20s. I certainly have had a fulfilling career, continue to, but I went through this, late in my career, later in life, and really felt engaged by it. It felt like it helped me identify what helps lead me to my full income potential. The Japanese culture has always had this term called Ikigai, and it refers to kind of what I like to think of as your why, the purpose, your mission, your meaning in life in the Japanese culture. And I'm going to put up the diagram here on screen as I'm talking about it, but Ikigai essentially refers to 4 things, and I want to read them here. Those 4 things are what you love, and this is the intersection of 4 different things. So again, it's what you love, what you are good at, what the world needs, and what you can be paid for. The intersection of those 4 things are your Ikigai, your meaning, your purpose as defined in Japanese culture. Whatever you use, however you define your purpose, however you find that, whether it's Simon Sinek, whether it's Ikigai, spend time to know it, to feel good about it every day, to get in that flow each day, to know that this is what I'm meant to do. This is how I make an impact on the world. Trust me, I believe in it. It will impact your income, which is again, a huge part, a significant part of the wealth building journey. I enjoyed bringing this to you today. And before we say goodbye, I want to share my quote that I always like to bring to the end of these videos. And that quote is this: financial prosperity is not the pursuit, but can be a result of pursuing a prosperous and abundant life. I wish you all the best, stay safe, and go out there and make impact in the world. Bye.
This presentation is brought to you by DWC Wealth Advisors. Information can be found at dwcwealthadvisors.com.